Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Dustin Keeslar, founder and creative director of Creative Cat, a bold and unconventional creative agency that specializes in brand storytelling, design, and high conversion. Dustin and his team pride themselves on being anti-cookie cutter and bringing personality and strategy together to help brands stand out in crowded markets. With a background in design and deep marketing insight, Dustin has carved a niche helping passionate business owners tell their story through scroll stopping branding and compelling digital experiences. Dustin, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you. Yeah, glad to be here.
I'm excited to dive in. I always like to start from the beginning. So take us on a little trip down memory lane to before you started Creative Cat. What were you doing at the time? And then what was really the motivation behind starting the company?
Yeah, okay, so going that far back. So I was working at another agency at the time, and I had always wanted to do my own thing, build my own system, my own business. The agency I was working for at the time was really asking me to help build a lot out for them. And I saw an opportunity to move my own way and build it on my own and build it my way. And I felt that was important for me at the time. So that's what I did.
Okay, awesome. Was it difficult to go from being, working at an agency to starting your own thing? Because I know it's not that easy, and a lot of people get faced with a decision and they decide not to do that.
Yeah, I think the first step really is having the courage to jump ship and stepping away from that reliable paycheck. Once you're your own boss, you're also all of your clients are now your boss. So
Yeah,
you've got another layer of responsibility to make sure you're doing what you need to do to bring in a sale and have those conversations and bringing in reoccurring revenue. But getting over that initial hurdle comes with, while there's a lot more responsibility, it comes with a lot of benefits too.
100%. Let's fast forward to give the listeners more context into Creative Cat. Who would you say is your ideal customer? Who do you love to work with? And then from there, let's dive into the different offers and services.
Yeah, so coming back from where we started, which was very much rooted in brand and creative, we've evolved from that point to doing more strategic based market research and planning. And going into our ideal customer, it's really a business that has a sales team and lacks that understanding of how do we marry marketing and sales to be a cohesive message, a cohesive mission. I see too often companies have their marketing and their sales are like completely separate silos, and one wants to blame the other for whatever may or may not be working. And so I pride myself in having enough understanding on both sides of it to be able to step in and really work one-on-one with the CEO or the marketing director and create that unification when it relates to brand and strategy.
Cool. That is funny. It's such an interesting common occurrence where if sales are slow, oh, the leads are bad. If from the sales side, but the marketing side is they just need to follow up more. They just need to close better. Da, da, da. It's so funny how that works. It's like two siblings fighting. I feel like it's very
Yeah.
common. Are there specific industries that you focus on for your agency, or is it pretty general and pretty broad?
It's been pretty general and pretty broad historically. We've been falling into a niche with service-based businesses as of late. And part of that is because we've developed a lead generation system that works really well for that market. We also offer our own CRM system with our customers. So throughout that process, it just blends really well for like roofing companies, for instance, lawn care, electric companies, and so on.
Got it. Okay, so when you say service based, it's mainly like trades, businesses, some sort of skilled labor.
Yep. Yeah. I would say lawn care is the exclusion to this, but typically my preference is that it's either a service or product-based business that requires a sales team throughout the process. And ideally, we're doing a larger ticket. So something over one or 2,000 is what our end goal is as far as the product or service that the company is selling. So that's where I
Yeah,
would say more so like roofing is a really good fit. I've done quite a bit in construction in all of those areas.
got it. Walk me through. You mentioned you have a pretty solid lead generation process for those different types of businesses. You also have your own CRM that they would have access to. What is the core offering when you are working with these companies? Walk me through what a typical client engagement looks like from start to finish.
Yeah, so the core offering is it's very similar to the terminology of an outsourced CMO. I find that most of these companies are too small to have that holistic strategy approach. And we step in on a monthly basis. We create objectives and goals. We oversee all of their marketing and we help build out the roadmap based on their budgets, what's realistic, but also what's the lowest hanging fruit for them. And then we oversee and manage those things. Some execution things we do in-house, other things we have partners that we bring in. But the fundamental thing is the market research, the strategy, ongoing relationship with the CEO to make sure that their business is heading in the right direction. From there, we have certain systems that we've done many times that's worked really well that we obviously bring in, like the lead generation that usually become a staple, like a pillar of what we do.
Very cool. So it's not the conventional marketing agency. It's not like you're going to come in here, you're going to run our ads, and that's basically it. But you're going to come in, you're actually going to operate like a CMO in a sense.
Yes, exactly. Once upon a time, we got our start in doing social media marketing and advertising, and we learned from a long time ago that when you really want true success in business growth and you really care about like the end result for the customer, it's got to be a lot more than just like a hammer and a nail mentality. It's got to be a little bit more holistic, a little bit more research based. And we found that requires being able to sit in that seat and talking with the CEO and talking with the team on a more regular basis and working through the goals with them in order to do that. And we find that we get far better results with our ad campaigns as well. And I just think of one example we had with a construction company. They made small constructions, not like full on homes or anything like that. But we were able to get out of just like 4,000 of ad spend, they were quoting 1.2 million off of that. So we have a very successful process, but it requires all of that fundamental research and strategy. And that's what most agencies and most businesses, frankly, they overlook.
Yeah. Wow. Very, very interesting. 1.2 million off of like potential jobs off of 4K in ad spend. That's nuts. Walk me through. Let's
Yeah.
shift a bit to the back end of the business. When it comes to you generating your leads and when you're looking to bring on more customers into Creative Cat, what does that process currently look like?
Yes, there's the right answer and the wrong answer. If you ever heard the term of like the mechanic's car is the one that's always breaking down.
Yep.
We do our own tactics on ourselves and we have before and it's worked really well. We usually don't turn that on very often because it's the real bottleneck is execution. And so we find if we take on too many clients too fast, we can't give it that same level of strategy and one-on-one relationship with the company owners like we enjoy to do, like what really makes us different and really helps us succeed the most for our customer. I'm the primary strategist and the primary person who's talking to the business owner. I
Mm.
haven't yet been able to duplicate myself. Really, just figuring out that transition is probably the bottleneck there. But as far as getting new leads in, we've got the formula, obviously, for how to do that.
Got it. So it's not more so sales and marketing or lead flow and conversion, but it's more so capacity and being able to take on more clients without just working 80 hours, 100 hours a week.
Yep, exactly. We're working through processing out our systems and finding opportunities to reduce the time it takes to do things and take away some of the busy work so that my time is more of the one-on-one in the meetings. But yeah, it's kind of trying to have controlled growth. We know the formula to basically just figure out the calculation of X dollars in and Y comes out, but then you have to service that. And the end side of it of we've likely take on and do more with our customers than maybe what we're charging for, or maybe most agencies would ever do. And so it just frankly, it's not possible for us to have as many clients as most agencies would.
Got it. Do you think you should be charging more?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think I wear my heart on my sleeve a little bit too much. And so there's probably some clients where I should charge more, but at the end of the day, I care more about their success than getting a specific amount out of it. And that's been changing as we grow.
Yeah. Fair enough. Especially if you're doing all of that, like all the things that you're doing that a typical agency doesn't do, they probably pay the higher price anyways, and still get the same level of success. And it's much more win-win at that point. I'm curious because this is actually a conversation that I have a lot on the podcast, which is the idea of building a scalable fulfillment model where we know that this fulfillment model can operate at scale. Do you think for you, it's just a matter of adding more bodies and bringing in more people to duplicate yourself to be able to bring on more capacity? Or is it a matter of changing the fulfillment model slightly where it can be more scalable?
I would say it's probably a blend of both. So we've been working through, for instance, with the roofing industry, like we've been working through a more systemized approach that we can take with that, where it's like, okay, we know this model works, so we modify it for each business and redo that model, which saves us a lot of time. Obviously, coming with the clause that there's going to be a little bit less of that completely like custom strategy level going into this because maybe it's overkill because we already know the formula. On the flip side of it, I think getting more bodies is a factor, but the challenge there is making sure it's the right people. And I think that the world is shifting quite a bit with all of this new AI stuff. On the side, one of the things that we've been doing is really digging into doing engineering and development with AI and how does that play a role of speeding up some of our processes. The fear obviously with AI is like being very critical about how factual and how correct it does the things we want it to do.
Yep.
And when we can get it to do the things correctly and accurately, and we have our checks and balances to make sure it is doing those things, we feel that's going to save a ton of time. And so if we can take away some of the busy work and focus on just the best of the best in terms of strategic thinking, that
Mm,
helps us hone in on who it is that is the right fit for that seat. To just put an example, some of the initial strategic work that we would take on with an initial client would typically take us about 3 months to get through,
mm,
or more. It's a lot of research, it's a lot of conversations, it's a lot of coming back, internal conversations, several of those, and trying to figure things out, sorting through tons of documentation. Well, now, like the documentation sorting can be sped up by so much. And we've developed systems that's turned our 3 month project into more like a 3 week project,
got
just
it.
because we've developed so many AI systems within our process now. And sorry, that's a long answer, but to
Oh,
make it
good.
short, we don't have a clear answer yet. We're kind of seeing how all of this new stuff shapes out before we know who the right person is for the next phase of our business.
And when you say right person, you mean recruiting the right talent on your team. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's got to be, I'm a firm believer that as we move into this AI, it's, we can't rely on the AI to do the creative thinking and the strategic thinking for us. We have to allow it to do the busy work for us. And so we have to be, we still need the best minds and the best leaders
Yeah.
to shape and direct what we're asking it to do.
I love that philosophy. I'm sure you've heard this before. AI isn't going to replace humans. It's humans that know how to use AI effectively are going to replace humans that aren't using AI. but you still
Yeah.
need that strategic thinking, that critical thinking. You can't outsource that to a machine. I like that thought process
Yeah.
a lot. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just agreeing with you. I think there's certain aspects to our formulas and our processes that we're able to automate. But if you don't have that initial knowledge and skill to do that task from the first place, like if you sit down and try to get AI to develop a business plan or a strategy for you, it's going to just go off the rails
Yeah.
and it's going to lead you down a path that is completely wrong for you, because it's good at one thing. It's good at completing a task. Whether the completion of that task is done right or wrong doesn't matter to AI. It wants to complete a task. So we have to be very careful about how are we asking it to complete that task? How well have we informed it and given it enough context to be able to complete that task well? And what are the checks and balances on the back end that we have to validate that it's done that task correctly?
Yeah. Completely agree. I remember when ChatGPT first came out and people were worried it was going to replace copywriting or copywriters. And sure, it's going to replace the really bad ones, but the copy that it spits out is not that great unless you know how to prompt it and you know how to engineer it in a way where it's decent, but you still need to make your own tweaks. Like it's not just cookie cutter. Walk me through
Yeah.
when you think of your vision and you think about where you want to take the company over the next 12 months. Let's say you're able to solve the fulfillment capacity and have a scalable model where you can grow exponentially. Maybe you just need to bring on more bodies, and obviously that becomes its own challenge. But let's say if the next 12 months panned out exactly how you wanted it to, where would you be in terms of revenue, performance, goals in general?
Revenue is a whole can of worms. We haven't reached that break point, that first 1 mil, but yet. I think once we break that, then I think the second one gets a whole lot easier. If I'm talking ideal scenario, I would say that we break that milestone.
Yes.
The As far as other goals goes, I think just finding the right people, get, getting the right aces in their places, and really getting all of this AI stuff that we're working on. We really foresee that kind of being a vertical to our business or second umbrella, so to speak, because I have a lot of connections to other agency owners, and we are seeing they work with far bigger companies than we do. We focus on small, medium-sized businesses, and in their space, they're too swamped with execution to even think about AI or how that impact their workflow. And we're at a point that we're getting so good at developing with it
Mm.
that we're kind of contemplating, do we take this secondary approach over here to just help some of these agencies get up to
Mm.
speed with modern times?
Interesting.
And how do we help them build out systems that's built off of their processes? Because I think that's the biggest thing is people they want to be they want to be AI driven, but they don't know how to train it and build it quite like we do.
Yeah.
So they're going to just try to use it, and then we're going to just see a bunch of generic output. And no agency wants that. Every agency has their own formula, their own methods, and they want that represented in the work that they do. So that's it. Realistically, I don't have a perfect answer to that question, just because right now the world has shifted so much, and what we're doing on a day-to-day basis has shifted so much
Yeah.
that we're still rewiring what it is that we do on a regular basis.
It's super interesting. It's so you're thinking about starting another offer for agencies, maybe towards the AIifying their workflow, for lack of a better word. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, so yes. Yeah, it's if you look at the future transition, you've got, right now you've got an agency, let's say for simple math, they pay 100,000 a year salary to a good talented person. They would expect that person to output 300K of value at the end of the year. So
Hmm.
they get a return of 200K. The future I think we're running into here is it's not a replacement of people, but it's an addition of AI within the workflow. And you're going to have that same person with 100K input, but that person is going to oversee, let's say, 2 to 3 different AI employees, so to speak, or tools. And each of those you would expect to output 200 or
Mhm.
300K, right? So with all this introduction, there's going to be a market assumption that the process is a little bit easier, a little bit quicker. With that comes either a reduction, expectation of a reduction in price, or an expectation of an increase in output.
Mhm.
So agencies are going to have to prepare themselves for the increase of output that they're going to have to deliver on in order to stay competitive, or they're going to be replaced. I'm sorry to say, there's so many tools coming out for small business, even just to self-serve their own marketing, and it's being done without clear direction or any knowledge of marketing. And so agencies are still going to be needed, but it's going to be the ones who understand and know how to operate in the new world.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's a great way to wrap up. What is the best way for people to reach out to you to learn more about what you're doing at Creative Cat, to work with you as a client, and for agency owners to reach out about how they could improve their business using AI?
Yeah. So all of the above, they can reach out to us, info@creativecat.co, or go to our website, creativecat.co, and we can start a conversation regardless of what it is that they're looking for. If it's on the looking for an agency, looking for strategy side, then we do have limit capacity within that. So we are very careful of who we take on, and we have a certain expectation of what are you going to commit to on your end to make sure that everything we do for you is going to work. On the agency side, that's all still very fresh conversation. We have a lot developed, on the back end, but haven't made anything public. I do plan to try to start some kind of online group or course where we can start connecting and having these conversations, but I don't have anything for that quite yet.
Also, keep me posted on that. So
Yeah,
that wraps
thank you.
up another insightful episode of Founders Future. Dustin, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your journey, sharing your insights with us today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to go to creativecat.co and email info@creativecat.co to get in touch with Dustin. And if you are a business owner and you're looking to scale your business, specifically if you're a coach, consultant, or an agency owner, and you're really looking to build the right foundations to scale to 7, 8, 9 figures, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.